In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up your ERPRev account if you render services. So this is strictly for organizations that render services. So for a new account, you would receive an email with your login details, and all you just need to do is copy that login details, the access URL, open a browser, copy it and paste it here, put your user ID here, put your default password here. Okay, so let's do that. User ID 1, password is usually admin, small letters. Then click on sign in. It will take you to where you're expected to change your password to something else. So here I'll put the current password, which is admin. Then I'll put the new password. Submit. Once you've changed your password, it will take you to where you can do your basic configuration. The first option there is for you to set your time zone, your preferred time zone, then your preferred date format. Then if you have multiple office location, you enable it. If you want to accept multi-currency, you enable it, but this is only available in the ultimate package. If you want accrual accounting, if you want to be able to classify your services, then you need to enable this option. Then tax system. If you enable it, system will want you to input the percentage, you type it here. Then at the same time, you select if it's inclusive or exclusive. Then you go ahead and click on next. Withholding tax option is there as well. We have tutorial video that covers how to use that. So in this case, I'll say, okay, we render services. It could be in your organization, it could be an organization where you use raw material to render services. Then you will need to select this option that says we use raw material. But if it's just services that you render strictly, then this is the only option that you would need to enable. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to assume that we use raw material to render services. It's optional. I'll just show you what you need to do. Then you click on next. Then system takes you to where you can set if mobile number should be compulsory, if no, let me go back. You're just going to go with the option that we render services. What should I? Okay, let's leave it there. Next, mobile number should be compulsory. Email, if you want email to be compulsory and you want it to be unique and all of that, you can enable. And if in your organization you don't register customers' information, you just want to use a working customer to deal with everyone, you need to check this box. Yeah, or else allow your staff specify the customer they want to sell to. Okay, if you deal with companies, then you need to enable this option that says allow use of customer company name. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and say next, upload your logo. Click on this browse option to select your logo from your local drive. It should be in JPEG, GIF, or PNG format and should not be more than 200 kilobytes in size. Then I'm not going to upload any logo now. For this example, I'll just click on save. Now our account is ready. Here it takes you to the dashboard. If you want to change what you have on this dashboard, you can go to super admin, click here, go to dashboard gadget and choose the different options you want. Okay, that's on one side. Then the next thing, now we've successfully logged in, we've changed our password, we've done the basic configuration. If you want to register, you might want to register department. You go to finance, department, and you register department. You click here, you type the name of the department, you type the function, and you click on submit. But I've already registered some departments already. So you can see we have some departments here. So based on your own organization department, then you can also go ahead and register staff, because in ERPRev software, if you're not a staff, you cannot make that person a system user. the person must first be registered as a staff before you can create a user account for that individual. All right. So how do we do that? Still under administration, there's option for staff. You can go ahead and click on register staff. So we're going to register a staff now. I'll call the person. Okay, you put the email address here. I'll just type in here, but you can put the mobile number, email address, select the gender. So this is male, date of birth. You can click here, click on the year to select the exact year and month. So let's see, it was okay. Then you can go ahead and put the employee number, the designation, the date person was employed, then the department that you registered would appear here. So you can select the exact department. Let's say this person is in the sales department. Then you can go ahead and select the office location that this individual belongs to. Okay, in order to register office location, assuming you have multiple locations, under administration, there's an option here to register locations. And we've already registered. If you click to register location, it wants you to input the location name, the address, the mobile number, and email and website address. These are optional fields that will appear on the printout, invoice or receipt printout for that office location. Okay, if you want to view the locations, you can click here, fetch data. These are the locations that we registered already. Okay, so here I'll assume this person is in the retail store or is in yeah, just say retail store. You can upload the person's photo. I'll just go ahead and click on submit. Now, if in the organization you want to keep track of their payroll information, additional info, and all, there's a tab here for additional for payroll info. But this is only accessible to those that are on the ultimate plan. So you can fill the main info, fill the payroll info, click on this tab to add, if you've added additional info, maybe like next of kin, educational qualification, and other things, you can add those fields here. Then there's option for special notes. Then aside that, remember that in the main info, you can actually upload the person's your staff passport photo. Okay, if you want to add this additional info, still under administration, there's a field called entities additional field. This allows you add additional fields to any of these documents and any of these aspects of the software. All right. So I'll just go ahead now and submit. Click on submit. Okay, I'd already submitted before. So start with customer ID 6. The reason it didn't respond is because I had not filled in anything. And remember, all the fields that are asterisks are compulsory. There's also an option for you to import the information. So if you have the information in CSV format, you can import. Here, the system shows you fields that are required, the data type that they should have, and all. We have a tutorial video that shows you how you can mass import staff records. Okay, now we've registered this staff. Let's also go and view staff. So view, fetch data. So these are the different staff. This is the person we just registered now, staff with ID 6. At this point, we can go ahead. Let's assume you want to edit the person's information. Fetch data. This pencil icon allows you edit. Anywhere you see a pencil icon, beside any record, it means you can edit. While this is for viewing of information. If you want to print this, I can click here to print. If I don't want the mobile number or the level field to appear, I just double click on it. That view will be hidden, or that column will be hidden. I can go ahead and print or save as PDF or Excel and all of that. Okay. So the next thing now is to create a user account for that particular staff. So still under administration, go to users, register user, search here, select that particular staff. Now here, I have two options. In creating, I can manually check this, go through all these different tabs and check the different options or privileges I want to grant this individual. So if for example, I want the person to be able to view general global view, have access to general global view, or allow the this particular system user to be able to print and export documents, I'll check this box. Okay. Then anything that is not checked, it means the person won't even know such things exist. But you need to do that for all these different tabs. And if there's any tab that does not concern that particular stuff, just don't check anything. Then once you're done, you go ahead and submit. However, there's a simpler way where you use this predefined privilege group that you see up here. You click on this drop down. There are different roles that come preloaded with every new ERPRev account. So you can go ahead and select anyone. Just if I say sales rep, for example, system already knows the privileges that a sales rep should have. However, if you want to say, okay, I want to know what has been configured for sales rep to have access to so that I can add or remove things there, just go over to administration, go to users and click on view predefined privileges. You're also at liberty to create your own predefined privileges. So I can fetch data. You see all the options here. I can click on this sales rep. Let me close this. Let me even maximize this and select the different things. So if, for example, I want this all the sales rep to be able to receive notification broadcast via SMS and email, I'll check that box. If I don't want them to be able to work when internet is poor, I uncheck this. Once you're done, you can go through other tabs. Once you're done, you can, let's say I want them to be able to backdate transaction. Once you're done, you go ahead and submit. Now, every system user that has this particular predefined privilege called sales rep the account will be updated with what you've just done right now. Okay. So this really works if you have an organization where several system users do the exact same thing. Instead of registering each person and selecting the privileges you want to grant them manually, just use predefined privilege so that it will be faster and a lot more easier to set up user account. Now, the next thing I want us to look at is to classify our services. In an organization, you might have maybe several services, maybe the one that falls under maybe consultancy, or maybe the one that falls under repair, or the one that falls under maybe evaluation. Maybe you have different types of evaluation, different types of repairs, different types of consultancy services, or, it, let me just give you a clear example. For people that sell products, you could have a fashion store, and in that fashion store, you're selling suits, you're selling bags, you're selling hair, you're selling sunglasses. You might have different types of suits, different types of sunglasses, different types of bags, but you just want to categorize them so that if you want to see all the bags you have, all the shoes you have, irrespective of the brand, irrespective of the size and color, system will just show you. Then, if that applies to your services, just go over to items attributes and register a category. So you can just register a category. Let's say I'll just call it category. Since this is a demo account, category X, and submit. Now we've registered a category. We can now go ahead and register different services. You can go ahead and register different services. So you see services, register services. Here, I can type the name of the service here. So let me call this one let's say consultancy. You can make it as descriptive as possible. Then you can put the price if it has a fixed price. If it doesn't have a fixed price, you can leave it. Let's say this is okay. Then if it's taxable, you check this box. Then I can click here and select the category that this service falls under. Then if it's a service that is only supposed to be accessible in only one office location, you can specify that particular office location. Then if this particular service is rendered in multiple office location, but each location has its own unique price, then you can input the prices for each of them here. Maybe retail store for this service it could be 150K. For wholesale store, it could be 135,000. For branch 3, it could be 149,000. For sales outlet, it could be 160,000. You can input them there and submit so that when your system users are writing invoices based on their location, the price you set for the location would appear. But if every location has just one price, then if you leave it like this and leave it as all through global, then whenever they want to sell, as in rendered, as in they're offering the service to any of your clients or customers, that this price you've set here would appear. So I'll go ahead and submit. Now, if I go to services, view services, and fetch data, you will see the service that we just registered here. I can go ahead now and write an invoice. Let's say we want to sell. I can click here, write invoice. System wants to know the customer want to write an invoice for. I can search you can search your record for existing customers, but if you've not registered anyone, you can click here. You can see add new customer on the top left. Click on it. Then it gives you an option to add. But if it's a customer that did not drop any information and you want to be treated as a general customer, just put 1 in the customer ID field and fetch data. System would know that, okay, this is just a walk-in customer. Then you can go ahead, click on items in cart and add items in cart. If I click here, you see the service we just added. You can input the amount, but if you want to be able to give your customers discount, maybe on invoice amount or discount on the total invoice amount or discount per service, it is possible. Now, if you're wondering, okay, how do we do that? There's a tutorial video that shows you how to do that. But if you go to general configuration, edit location specific preferences, and click on sales, scroll down, you see customers can get discount. If I enable this option, it will show you other options here. Now, remember I also talked about the fact that, oh, maybe in an organization, you use raw material to render services, right? So there's an option here that says auto register raw material usage for rendered services. If I enable this option, then it means I'm telling the system that, okay, every time a service, I want to render a service, I'll first let the system know that, oh, every time this service is rendered, go into the database and deduct XYZ quantity of raw material 1, raw material 2, raw material 3. This only applies for organizations that use services, right? Use raw material to render services. Maybe I'll show you that shortly, but let's just leave that for now. So here, if you have other services, you can go ahead and select them. Then you see your total. Here is where you input the amount that the customer paid. Let's assume this customer made payment of 100,000. And that means he plans to pay the balance later. I can tell them that, oh, maybe this 100 fair split payment. Split in the sense that maybe part cash, part to bank, or maybe part transfer, part POS, or sent more account. This split payment takes care of it. But in this case, let's assume he gave 100, he gave 50,000 cash, then part payment 2, paid another 50,000 via bank transfer. Remember, the payment type allows you select which. It's very important that you specify. Then this date of bank transaction is the date the money hit the bank account proper. Then here, payment due date is the date the person has as in agreed to come and pay the balance. Let's assume he still wants to come and pay the balance later today. I'll select today, or if it's tomorrow, you can go ahead. Maybe if it's in the future, but let's select today. Say okay, then I'll submit. But in your organization, let's assume you've added additional info. Maybe let's say it's a laundry and you've added pickup dates, or you've added pickup dates and pickup channel, and things like that. Or you want to know how did this customer get to know about us and all. You can add all of that in this additional info field, and all you just need to do is to go to administration. Then you see entities additional info, manage invoice additional info. If you click here, system will give you an option to be able to add different fields. And if you do and set the data type, they will appear here. However, there's a tutorial video that shows how you can do that. It's available in our help center. Okay. Now, I'll just go ahead now and submit. You see, I've submitted this. The system has generated an invoice for me. Now I can go ahead and print this. Let me close this and click on open invoice for print. Here, you notice that the system is showing the customer's current balance. If you had collected the customer's phone number, it will appear here as well. Just on this side where you have, sorry, here you see, you get to see the invoice number, the date of the transaction, the user that generated it, the payment due date. Then you can print, you can share maybe via WhatsApp and other. You can click on save as PDF. You can click here to email this transaction. But for the email transaction option to work, it means that you must have enabled, as in sending of emails from the ERPRev software. There's a tutorial video that shows how to do that. However, if in your organization you're not, you prefer to have an expert help you configure your account and train the system users and all, that service is available, but it's not a free service. That person will configure your account, train the system users, provide after sales support for 30 days for you. All right. So here you get to see the name of the service, the price, the amount. You see the payment info and VAT related info. Then where you have thanks for your patronage, here you can type in different things, maybe your bank account number or no refund and all those kind of things here. Okay. Then aside that, where you have this common layout here, the top right, you can have different layouts. So I'll show you. Let me just click on this and say, show me, give it to me in the POS layout to show me. Give it to me in POS layout 2 to show me. Then you can have custom print. But if, for example, you want your customer, your company name, address, phone number, tax registration number, or company, as in website and all, to appear on this invoice, is possible. You can go to administration. You have just one office location. Go to general configuration. Then you see the place where it says edit company info. And maximize this information here. And once you do that, it will appear on your invoice. And if you have multiple branches and you want each branch to have its own unique information, it's also possible from the settings area. Now, let's go back and view. Let's go to sales, invoice, view invoice, fetch data. you see that here the total is 150,000. This VAT, total and VAT. Amount paid is 100,000. But there's an option here to attach receipt because the person did not pay completely. So if this customer has come back and wants to pay, however, if we go and let's view customer info first. If I fetch data, I can also search for people who are debtors or creditors, but let me just fetch data for any. It will show me that the working customer is owing this amount. Okay, you can click here to view their ledger, patronage, and all, edit the information, and do a couple of other things. Okay, but let's assume this person has come to pay the balance. I'll click on attach receipt. Then I go ahead and open. Now it's telling me that the invoice already has a receipt associated with it. But if this person wants to pay this, I can still go to receipt, write receipt, select this particular customer, but let's assume that this option was not, no, can stay. Let's assume I say, okay, I want to search for this time. Let me just write work. It brings out this customer information. Let's say the person wants to pay 50,000, 50,000 balance. Purpose, I'll just type demonstration, but you can put the narration here. This time around, let's assume the person is paying via bank, but is paying via POS. Okay. Date of transaction today, depositor. I can just put NA if you don't have the information. But if you notice down here, the system has also displayed the invoices attached to this customer that the person has either made part payment or has not paid anything at all. In this case, you can see there's an invoice of 150,000 that was raised on this date, and the person paid 100,000 balance to balance 50,000. Now just copy this invoice number you see here and put in this field. So the system will know that, okay, this particular payment receipt we're about to write now is for this invoice. So I'll say submit to prompt me, say yes. Now receipt has been written. If we close this and I fetch data again, you see amount paid is now 150 and there's no option to attach a receipt to it again. It's possible to view the printouts. It's possible to edit it. It's also possible to delete. But all these icons would only appear if the user has the privilege to do any of these things. All right. It's possible to also aggregate to group your information. Now, aside that, here I can go ahead and go to invoices and view rendered services. I can view rendered services. I can also view rendered services summary. Rendered services will show you every individual service that's been rendered line by line, while the summary would aggregate all the information and give it to you. Let's assume I don't want to even categorize it. I'll just say, okay, don't group by none. I fetch data. So it will show like this, while this one will show me the customer and all of that. Let me maximize this. So you see, you get to see it. So the next thing, look at maybe your expenses. How do you keep track of your expenses? That is under finance. And if you have more than one bank account that customers can make payments into, you go to finance, bank account, and register bank accounts. Now we have a tutorial video that shows you how you can register a bank account and even map it to and assign a ledger to it, a bank and cash ledger to it. Now, so you can go ahead and do that. Even the existing bank account, you can fetch data, edit this icon, and change the name to whatever you want. Okay, then for expenses, you can click here to register expenses. Expenses one after the other. There's option for bulk expenses. There's option to register prepaid expenses. For example, your rent. you pay rent maybe for the whole year, and you wouldn't want the system to just deduct that, from um, apply that to expenses for 1 month because it's for a whole year. Let's assume you paid 12 million naira for 1 year as rent. That's for 12 months. It comes to 1 million a month. You would use prepaid expenses to do that. We have tutorial video that shows you how you can do all of that. Okay, this budgeting option only applies to organizations that are in the ultimate package. If you're not on the ultimate package, you won't see budgeting. You will also not see payroll and also the loan management model. Remember, I talked about the option where, as an organization, maybe you use raw material to render services. For that to work, you need to go to administration, general configuration, and click on edit location specific preferences. You see here, the option of reuse raw material is enabled, but aside that, we'll still need to go to the sales tab and click on this option that says auto register material usage for rendered services. So if I do this, I'll submit. You can also enable other things you want. Maybe you want to connect to allow email sending and all of that. You can set all that here. SMS, you can do all of that. Printing, the printing. If you want to change your label, maybe you don't call your customers, you call them clients and all. You can change all of that from here. Then this general tab. We've seen this already in the basic configuration. You want to allow SMS and email sending. Once you're done, you go ahead and click on submit. Now, once you do this, system is going to log you out if you try to do any other thing. Not just you, every other system user that is associated with this account, system will log them out so that whatever you did would take effect automatically. So we're logging in again. So it takes us in this time around. If we go to services, we're going to see an additional field there that's like material requirements. You see material requirements. So let me go ahead and register material. Let's say material 1. Let's assume this material 1 when you're rendering a service is used in grams, but you buy it in maybe bags. So I can add more unit of measurement and tell the system that 1,000 gram is equal to 1 kg and 25 kg, or let's say 50 kg, is equal to 1 bag. I'll put the price for 1 gram. Let's say it's 10 naira per gram. I'll put the reorder level in grams because that's the unit of measurement we specify up here. Okay, so here reorder level, let's say is 10,000 grams, which is 10 kg. I can select the category if you've created that. Then I'll check this box that says create empty stock record. Very important. I'll submit. Let me just register material 2. Let's assume this material 2 is used in pieces. And maybe 12 pieces equals to 1 dozen. And 10 dozen is equals to 1 carton. Okay, so you've gotten the concept now. Let's assume this is 350 a piece. And the reorder level, we want it when we have, let's say, 2 dozen, so 24 pieces. Okay, then you can select the category and all. I check this box that says create empty stock record and I submit. Now that I've done that, I can go ahead and register a service. Let's say service. I can give it any name. Maybe service that uses raw material. Okay, so here I'll go ahead and maybe give the service a name, maybe 20,000 naira, and it's taxable and all of that. I'll just go ahead and submit. Now that I've registered that service, on the services, I'll go to material requirement, register material requirement. System would want to know which service do I want to register material, and I'll impute the base quantity. The base quantity is a quantity that, as an organization, you know the raw material that is required to, render that particular service. So you might not know maybe the quantity of raw material required. Let's say it's food. You might not know the quantity of raw material required to make one plate, but you know that, okay, maybe you know what goes into making 10 kg. Let's say 50 portions or 100 portions of this meal. If you know what goes into making 100 portions of this particular service, you can type 100 here. Then now go ahead and select the different raw materials that will produce 100. Let's assume here we use 15,000. So I'll put 15,000 grams in the raw material. Let's say material 2. Let's assume we use 100 pieces. You get the point. You can just go ahead and enter other raw materials. Then I'll submit. If you do this, it means that every time you want to render the service, system would go into the database and deduct the corresponding raw materials required to to render that service. Okay, so here, remember we've not told the system the quantity of each of these raw material that we have. To do that, I'll go to material inventory. And note that if in your organization you don't use raw material to render services, this part of the video does not apply to you. Okay, so you put the date it was purchased, select the supplier, then you select the store the raw material was received into. Let me just click here. You see here, I can tell the system that, okay, I select bag, it's giving me bag price. I select carton. Let's say here we brought in 10 bags and 15 cartons. System has calculated the amount you're supposed to pay to the supplier, and I'll click on total to payment info. It shows me the amount. If payment was made to the supplier, I'll check here and specify the amount that was paid. We have a tutorial video that shows how to do this, clearly. Then at this point, I can just go ahead. Let's assume we didn't pay the supplier. Submit. And you may be wondering, okay, so when I now pay the supplier, what will I do? You go to finance and write the payment voucher. So go to finance, payment voucher, and write the payment voucher. Okay, but now let's go to our raw material and material stock and view material in stock. If I fetch data now, you can see those raw materials have been added and we receive them into the retail store. Look at it here, 10 bags, 15 cartons, which comes up to 500,000 grams and 1,800 pieces. Now, if we render services, let's go to invoice, write invoice. This time around, let's add a new customer instead. So if you enable the option that mobile number should be compulsory, if you don't input the mobile number, it won't go. Let me select the country, or you can select maybe it's mail, and you can do all of this. Once you're done, you click on submit. So it has registered that person. Then I'll click here and select this service that uses raw material. Let's assume we sold 10 pieces of this particular service, right? System has calculated that the customer is supposed to pay 200,000. Let's assume the person did not pay and has decided to come and pay later today or maybe tomorrow. Let's even say later today. Okay, I'll go ahead. That means the amount paid field is zero, meaning we didn't receive any money from this person. And in ERPREV, it's possible to configure the system such that any credit invoice would have to be authorized by someone superior than who the person that generated it before it can go through successfully. That option is there. Or you can also set credit limits so that if a customer is going to get things on credit and is higher than the credit limit that you set earlier, system would not allow that transaction go through successfully. Okay, but let me just go ahead and submit this. She's asking me about to do this. Should I continue? I say yes. Now, at this very instance of generating this invoice for us, system has also gone into the raw material inventory to deduct the raw materials required to produce raw material required to render the as in 10 pieces of this particular service. Okay, so let's go and look at it. If we go to raw material inventory, and check our material in stock, view material in stock. Let's view two things at the same time. I'll go to material usage, view material usage. Let's start by looking at the one in the retail store. Let me maximize this. You see that the quantity has reduced for material 1 from 500,000 to 498,500 grams. And the quantity has moved in material 2 from 18 to 1790. And you see the quantity remaining here. Now, if I close this and we go ahead and do the same thing for look at automatically, it has documented the raw material that was used to render that service, and the reference or badge number here is invoice 2. So you can see. So to render that service, we spent about 18,500 in terms of raw material to make that happen. Okay, so the last thing I would like to show you now is assuming the customer wants to come and pay because the person bought the items on credit. What will you do? If we go to sales and we view invoices, you see here we have the option that says write receipts. That's one option. Then there's another option that says mark paid. Okay, there are two different things. So if that customer is coming to pay this money that he or she was owing, is owing 200,000 completely, then write receipts is what you do if the person is paying completely. But if the person is coming to pay just 100,000 from this, then go to under sales, go to receipt and write receipt for the 100,000. But if it's paying completely, mark write receipt. However, if this person had already made payment and the payment receipt was raised for the person, and now the person is now coming to use that money to buy something, you click on mark paid and input the receipt ID, the receipt number, so the system would know that, okay, this invoice use this particular receipt, payment receipt to take out the money. Okay, so that's that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on write receipt, assuming the person has come to pay fully. So here, see, it has shown me the amount. It didn't even give me the option to write the amount. So let's assume it's a cash payment that the person made. I'll just click on write receipt. The receipt has been written. I can open, and I can also open the receipt. Now let me leave this. So we have the invoice here. See, paid cash, and here we have the receipt. Now you can still go to the system and view all the receipts. You can view the receipts, you can click here to view receipts. I can also view here by payment method. So let's fetch data. It shows you all the payment receipts, 4 of them, the mode and all. Then I can click here as well to see. So the value of cash, bank POS, bank transfer, and the total. If I want to see the individual transaction, I say show transaction entries. And I fetch data. It will show me how it arrived at that. Remember, all this can be printed. You can save as PDF and all of that. Okay. Now, if you're using an Android device and you would like to have the application installed on your device, just go to our website. And how do you access the website? Directly from your account. You can go to help/support, click on help. Now it will take you to where you have all the different tutorial videos. As far as the software is concerned, you can use this search box to search for whatever you want, like say how to write invoice. You click on search. It will show you the different options. These are different tutorial videos, and you can search for different things. Now, but if you want to download the software, go to pages, click on downloads, and this is for Windows. If you want to install the browser on your window, you have different versions here. If you also want to install it on your Android device, click here to download ERPRev Android client. Click on the download. When you're downloading it, if you try to install it to tell you, oh, this it might harm your device, just say you understand. It's not going to harm your device. Your reason is showing you that is because you're not downloading it directly from Google Play Store. You're getting it from our website. Then this one is for people who want to link their ERPRev account to their WordPress WordPress website that uses WooCommerce. But that's for people that sell, as in buy and sell. All right. Okay. So if you use this one, system can make sure that the quantity of product you have on your website tallies with what you have in your inventory, so that as customers are walking to your shop to buy, it's updating the quantity on the website, and as customers are buying from the website, it's updating the quantity as well, so that you don't get to sell to customers what you don't have. Okay. Then another way you can get help. Let's go back. Another way you can get help, it's up here. See here, this is also a sure way of getting help. If you click there, you can do three things from here. One, you can chat with our AI assistant, and it will recommend videos for you. Just tell it what you want to do. Then here, you can chat with an agent, like a live agent. If any of our agents are available online, you chat with them. Then here you can open support tickets. Assuming the agent you chatted with or the bot was not able to give you what you want, then you can go ahead and open a support ticket, and within 24 hours, we will respond. Okay. Please always endeavor to rate the bot for every response it gives to you, so that we'll be able to train the AI assistant to be able to attend to, as in give out the best information at all times. However, if you want to, learn how to use the entire functionalities that's available in this software and do way more than all that I've shown you in this video, then I would strongly request that you recommend that you request for the service of an ARPF expert. It's an additional service, it's not a free service. The person would help configure your account, create account for the different system users, help you buy hardware if you need hardware, help train your system users, and also provide after sales support for 30 days from the day the training was done. And how do you request for that? In the welcome email that we send to all our new clients, there's always a link that you can click to request for the service of an expert. And that can be done on site. The expert can help onboard you on site or online. They have different prices. Then, under administration, if you go to software license, license details, there's an option to request an expert for training. There's also option to renew your current subscription or add more system users. So if you click on this, request an expert for training to onboarding, it will take you to our website where you can here you can request. Let me just click on it. It take you to the site where you can go ahead and request if you want the training to be done on site or online, and you can put any additional information here and proceed. Okay. Then if you've downloaded the application and you've installed it, right, and you want to set it up, just it will look like this bed you see here in your downloads. Let me click on it. Let me go to, sorry, look at it here. This, okay. So if you click on it, I've already set up on my own. Let me log out. All you need to do is copy that access URL, paste it here, put your user ID here, put your password here, and click on go. And that'll be it. All right. And every time you want to log in, you just launch the application and click on go, and it will take you in. It's also possible for you to enable second factor authentication so that way, every time you want to log into your account, you can use your Google Authenticator app to generate OTP, or the OTP can be sent via email or via SMS. But the one that you do with an app is more reliable. All right, so that's all for now. I believe that with this video, you'd be able to set up your service-oriented business in ERPRev, and but just remember that there's so much more that you can get. There's so much more that the software can do other than the things you're seeing here. For example, if we go to general configuration now, you can configure birthday messages for customers, for staff. You can do a whole lot under all this. These are different configuration settings, and an expert will be able to help you configure it the way you want it to work. All right. So I wish you all the best.